Hey there, y'all. Tad from Marketing for Hippies here in Toronto, and I was heading to a bookstore to pick a lot of books that I got. And I was leading my workshop yesterday, and something somebody said, I'd never thought about it this way before, but we were talking about vulnerability, this idea of if you're willing to be vulnerable in your marketing, it's going to get you a more polarized response. You know, some people say yes, some people say no, but less people will say maybe. And the challenge for most businesses is they get such a neutral response because they're being very neutral. They're being very kind of generic, and so they get a kind of blah response from the marketplace. So I was saying, you know, if you're willing to be honest and candid with how you see things, your point of view, your philosophy, you'll get a more polarized response, a little stronger either way. And one woman commented, she said, I just feel like, you know, we often need permission to tell the truth, to be vulnerable. We need permission to, and I said, you know, it's probably true. And isn't it interesting just to flip it and say, who gave you permission to lie to people? Who gave you permission to withhold certain information? Because you know by withholding it, by not saying a certain thing, that you're more likely to get them as a client. Even though you know that information might be important to them. Who gave you permission to keep your cards so close to your chest when it might matter to them? And because this is what happens in marketing all the time. The lack of vulnerability is, or at least can be, a way that people manipulate. Because I know if I actually told you the truth about my political stance, if I told, and not that, you know, everyone needs to say their political stance all the time, or if I told you the truth about how I don't know, see my industry or my product, or the way that I work, or the beliefs that I have about this work, or if I said any of those things, then maybe you wouldn't want to work with me. But of course the truth is that it comes out anyways. You know, the truth is it comes out later at some point. If there are things that could be deal breakers, people are going to find out, and the longer you make them wait, the more upset they're going to be, the more time gets wasted. So it just struck me, this wondering of, you know, it's like, of course, it's understandable, well, in this culture we kind of need permission to be vulnerable, but it's not ever questioned that we don't seem to need permission to withhold information, to be dishonest, to try to be a little sneaky about things. So anyways, that just struck me. Of course, this is not, it's so easy to turn everything into a new religion. Now the religion is vulnerability, and everyone tells everyone everything all the time, and it's not that either, because you've got to make the call. What do you share? What don't you share? When do you share it? What's the context? Sometimes you can share things without sharing them. Sometimes it just kind of appears in the nature of your work and how you write things. That it's so again, this isn't a dogma, but it's something to wonder about. Yeah.